Hey friend, Tina Fike here. I am the Coreblades chick, and for today's follow along strength session, all you're gonna need is a pair of core blades, of course. You can also use hand towels or t-shirts. If you're unsure how to use those, go back and watch the intro video. I go through that. If you wanna get yourself a pair of core blades, comment below core blades and I'll make sure to hook you up. You also are going to want a yoga block on hand, a couple of dumbbells or kettlebells. You could also use a jug of water or juice, just something weighted. We're going to be doing a weighted tricep extension exercise. And then you're going to want to have a band. I will show a variation of that with a dumbbell, and then a wall or the back of a door, and then a bench, or you could use a chair. I will show variations for those things as well. And without further ado, we're going to dive right in. If you want to get your own go at your own pace, app delivered, scheduled variation of this entire program, comment below coach me and I can hook you up there with my really low cost monthly membership program, which includes a private community, nutrition coaching, and so much more. Again, coach me below and I'll help you out there. Same thing if you need help with modifying exercises. Without further ado, let's dive in. To warm up, we're just gonna lay down on the floor. Let me disclaimer, yes, I am pregnant. Every movement that I choose to do with my body has been intentionally chosen because it feels safe for me right now. Always make sure that you have doctor's approval before entering any exercise program. Just as a disclaimer, if a movement doesn't feel safe or right for your body, just skip it, move on. And if you need help, comment below coach me and I will help you out as best I can. Okay. That out of the way, I'm gonna lay down on the floor and I'm gonna practice some good breathing. I like to put one hand here at my ribs and one on my belly because my lungs are up here in my chest, right? Higher up. And so I wanna make sure that as I breathe in through my nose, I'm expanding and filling my lungs, expanding 360 degrees around here and here. Breathe, draw that breath all the way down through to your heels and then exhale, forceful exhale. Nice and slow. You can imagine you have a balloon here at your mouth that you're trying to inflate with that exhale. It can actually help to physically get some balloons and put one here at your mouth as you practice this breathing. It will do so much good for you. Whatever you do, please don't skip these warm-ups. They are so important. I know they seem boring at first, but they make a huge impact. I'll do that for about 5 good breaths, and then I'm gonna practice some anterior and posterior tipping of my pelvis to get some mobility down here. Oftentimes when we're feeling stiff in the hips, it's more of a pelvic issue, and we wanna make sure we address that mobility just as much as we address the hips. So I'm just gonna go anterior tilt and posterior tilt with my kind of tucking my butt to almost like arching a little bit in my low back for that anterior tilt. So it's like my pelvis is a bowl and I'm just tipping it one way and then the other, trying not to over exaggerate and get up into my shoulders. So I inhale and go anterior, exhale, go posterior. And just kind of play with that. And try not to overthink it, just play with that motion and let it feel good. And for some, this is gonna feel really challenging at first, and that's okay. And I'm gonna do about 8 to 10 total of these. Expanding, expanding, expanding. Exhale, squeeze that breath out from the bottom up. Nice, long, and slow breath. Which is harder for me to do when I'm also trying to talk and coach. Okay, and once you get 8 to 10, if you need more time, press pause on this video at any time. I'm gonna go into some pelvic scissors. So I'm gonna lay on my side. I like to put my feet up on the wall, but you could also just do this freestanding, middle of the room. From here, I'm just gonna slide my top knee forward slightly in front of the bottom knee, and then I'm gonna pull it straight back, okay? I'm just sliding forward and back with that top leg. Back and forth, 8 to 10. Keeping my feet flat against the wall, just to keep me from getting excessive motion elsewhere in my body. You'll note I'm not moving my shoulders with that. I've got my hand here for stability, and I'm just trying to get that to isolate this pelvic hip motion here at the top. And you'll learn I'm a terrible counter, especially when I'm trying to coach and talk at the same time, but about 8 to 10. And then we'll go to the other side and do the same thing. Going just straight forward and back. Okay. For this last warm-up exercise, you're going to need your block. We're going to place it wider position in between your knees. And you can play with this. If this movement feels better without the block, you can do it without the block. The block just helps to turn on the adductors and connect your core, because your adductors are deeply connected to your core. So when we turn those on, we're getting better access to those lower core muscles. But we're going to use our wall, okay? Back of the head and back are against the wall. And I'm going to slide down the wall as close to a 90 degree as I can get pain-free, okay? And then from this position, if you feel tension in your knees, move your feet out a little farther. Relax your toes, find that good tripod, back of the big toes, little toes, middle of the heels. Relax the toes, get down, slight squeeze on that block, hands are forward, and I'm gonna take 5 good breaths. So I inhale, expand, really expanding through the back and the wall. Exhale, forceful exhale, draw the ribs down. As I inhale, drawing that breath all the way down through to the floor underneath me. Expand, expand. Exhale. Long, slow, forceful exhale. We're going to do 5. Chin is up to keep the airway open. Good. And then we're going to take a little break. And we're going to do that one more time. Just kind of shake my legs out. I'm not going to rest for long for purposes of this video. Always feel free to press pause if you need a little more time. Otherwise, I'm going to just place that block, get down into my pain-free position. Arms are forward, 5 breaths. Super. And we're going to go into strength set number 1. So for this first set of strength exercises, we're going to go between 3 exercises. The first exercise is a bear dog. I love this exercise, especially for anyone struggling with upper back, neck pain. Okay, I am someone who has struggled with chronic neck pain for most of my adult life. And this has been one of the key exercises to helping me manage that and overcome it over time. So I've got my feet against the wall, and I'm going to push away from the floor in this position. I'm going to take a good breath in, expand, really pushing away from the ground through my hands, letting my shoulder blades kind of come apart and really expanding. I'm not like overarching through my back, just pressing away from the floor. Think long through the back of the head and the neck. Breathe in, expand, draw that breath all the way through to the wall behind you. Strong exhale. Draw the ribs down. And as I have that breathing down, I'm gonna breathe in and go into a bent knee, down dog, pushing away from the ground. Breathe in, expand, exhale, come back here to bear, where my knees are just hovering a few inches above the ground. Breathe in, expand into down dog, and then exhale back to bear. If you need to drop your knees to the ground in between into quadruped, that's okay. Just meet yourself where you're at, and let's do about 8 of these, 8 to 10. Or 6 if that's where you're at. You pick your own adventure here. Again, making sure when you go to that down dog that you're pushing away from the floor and not just shoving your chest towards your knees. Okay, now I'm gonna go to my chair or my bench, and we've got 2 exercises that we're gonna do here. First exercise, you have a couple of options. Okay, I'm either gonna do a 1-leg hip thrust, or you're just gonna do a double-sided glute bridge, okay? Double-sided glute bridge is easier for many. This 1-legged exercise is too much starting out, but I'm gonna show you both. So I'm gonna be in this position. I'm gonna tuck my butt a little bit, get into a posterior tilt to the pelvis. And if you're doing your double leg glute bridge, you're gonna be right here. You're going to inhale, push up into that bridge, not real high, okay? I'm not going way up here, but like 6 inches off the ground. And then exhale, down to the floor. Okay, and you're gonna give me like 16 up to upwards of 20. Just kind of feel it out and see what feels good for you, where you feel fatigue. Okay, otherwise, I'm gonna get into my posterior tilt. I'm gonna lift 1 leg up to about a 90. You can tuck it to your chest. Hard for me to do with my belly right now, but you can tuck it here to your chest, and we're just gonna do a 1-leg bridge. 8 to 10 per side. Much more challenging than it looks. But if you want to take it up a notch, you can absolutely put a dumbbell here on this hip. But trust me, even if you're an advanced lifter, this exercise is challenging, just body weight. So don't underestimate it. Just keep that posterior tuck of the pelvis. Here we go. Or you're doing your double leg glute bridge. Super. And then our third exercise, this is where we're gonna need our dumbbells, or you could also use a kettlebell, okay? I'm gonna take my dumbbells, and for this move, I'm gonna have the balls of my feet on the edge of my chair or my bench. If you're using a chair, you can just put it against a wall. That'll give you some stability. But I'm gonna posterior tuck my pelvis. I'm gonna come into my 6-inch bridge. I'm gonna press my dumbbells or my kettlebell straight up. And from here, I'm going to hinge from my elbows. So my elbows stay pretty stationary, and I'm going to extend. So I breathe in, expand. Exhale, extend my triceps. Noting how stationary my elbows are. And we're gonna do anywhere from 8 to 12 of these. You kind of pick your adventure here. And of course, the heavier your dumbbells or your kettlebell, the more challenge it is. So, okay, here we go. We're gonna do one more round of that entire set. So I'm gonna come to the wall for my bird dog, push away from the floor, get long through the neck and the back of the head. As I breathe in, I'm gonna go into my down dog, pushing away from the ground. Exhale, bear or quadruped. Anywhere from 6 to 10. Press pause, always if you need more time. And then we're gonna go ahead and transition. One-legged hip thrust or dual glute bridge, okay? You pick your own adventure here. I'm gonna do the one-legged hip thrust. So, posterior tuck of the pelvis, 6-inch bridge, leg at a 90, or you can tuck it to your chest. I highly recommend that. Really helps to isolate that glute. And bridge. Anywhere from 6 to 10 per side. This is hard. When you're ready, switch sides. If you're on your double leg glute bridge, give me anywhere from 12 to 20. All right, and tricep extensions. We're gonna have the balls of the feet on the edge of your chair or your bench. Posterior tuck the pelvis up into your small bridge. Just enough that you really feel your glutes and your hamstrings firing. Okay, it's gonna keep us from compensating with the back. And keep that core on. Press straight up with your dumbbells or your kettlebells. Hinge from the elbows. Anywhere from 8 to 12. I'm on 10. Take your time. If you need more time, always press pause. And feel free, if you want to do a third round of this, just press pause, do a third round, and then come back for our next set. All right, for our core blade set, we're going to go back and forth between a backhand on the core blade or your t-shirt, hand towel, and we're going to do a push-up drill. First, I'm going to demonstrate our back hands. We're going to do 10 to 15 reps per side. And to start this exercise, my feet are about hip width apart, maybe slightly wider. I've got my hand here just as a target. I'm going to start here. My elbow is bent and soft, and I'm going to push through the ground from my foot. This energy is going to travel from the ground to my hip, through my core, and then finish through my arm. So I'm always thinking leg, body, arm with core blade movements, especially these more unilateral movements. So I'm here, I'm going to push through the ground, through my hip, and it doesn't need to be real forceful. Right now, we're just trying to introduce this single arm rotational work. So you'll note, look at my foot, that I'm not pivoting a whole lot off that foot. There's just a shift, a weight transfer foot to foot. What I don't want you to do is this number where I'm rotating and pivoting my whole body. That's not our goal with this exercise today. We're just trying to isolate that rotation through the mid and upper part of the torso, the thoracic. And if you need to look back at your hand to help open that up for a couple reps, you absolutely can. But what will happen as that energy travels through the core, you're gonna feel these muscles stretch, turn on, and decelerate that energy. So we're working these chest muscles, we're lengthening them, and we're strengthening them at the same time. There is so much power in that, to lengthen and strengthen at the same time. It is so rejuvenative for the joints, and it's gonna help open up all kinds of range of motion for you. So I'm here, my elbow's bent, and I'm gonna push off this foot and hip, let that energy come through my core, and then I catch here through my chest. Make sure the arm is at the right angle too. As I'm coming around, you'll note my arm's not way up here, because then I'm gonna feel a pinching through my neck in this upper trap. I wanna find that sweet spot where I feel these fibers across my pec open up and get that stretch. And just kind of play with that. And we're gonna do 10 to 15 per side. And don't start with a ton of power. As you get more comfortable and this movement feels really good, then you can throw some more power behind it, especially with your weighted blades. But for now, We're just trying to open up that range of motion and get the pecs here to turn on as a decelerator. So I've got my core and my pec coming on to decelerate that movement, making sure not to over pivot off this left leg, okay? I think that's about 10 to 15. I'm gonna come to my other side. This hand is my target so that I can keep my arm traveling the same path around and back. And also note, I'm not throwing back to my start point. I'm just kind of traveling. I throw, I catch, and I travel back. I throw, I catch, and I travel back. And again, we're just going for 10 to 12 reps, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and go on to our push-up. As we move into this set, we're gonna wanna set up a pair of step stools, or you could use a chair, a pair of chairs. You could use a bench. You just wanna make sure that you can get your feet against a wall, and feel free to put a rolled up towel, pillow, something under your knees just for that cushion. And then I'm also gonna show you a standing variation against the wall for those that are needing something standing, okay? But I'm gonna start by demonstrating here on just elevated step stools. I love these. They're Rubbermaid step stools. Really simple, really cheap to get. But what we're gonna focus on here is first I've got my feet against the wall. They're kind of dragging up the wall just a little bit so that I feel that hamstring engagement. I'm gonna breathe in and expand as I come down in a narrow stance. So I want my elbows to brush against the sides of my body as I come down and really try to relax through, my chin is up so my airway's open, my neck and the tops of my shoulders are relaxed. As I come down, I've got pressure coming into the heel of my hand. And then as I press up, I exhale and I'm gonna feel that pressure shift more into the arch of my hand here. Okay, I'm pressing into my thumb and my index fingers. Inhale, expand, and then up into the arch of the hand. And at the top, you wanna make sure that you get into protraction, kind of push your shoulder blades apart there at the top. So I'm really getting expanded, okay? Now I'm gonna show you the standing variation against the wall. So if you need to take advantage of the wall variation of this push-up, we're just going to get against the wall or the back of a door, okay? And you want to be back enough that we've got just a little bit of pressure here against the wall. Elbows are gonna be brushing against the sides of your body. Don't underestimate this exercise. It is challenging when done correctly. So elbows brush against the sides of the body, and you're gonna feel that into the heel, the bottom, the heel of your hand as you come down toward the wall. I breathe in, expand through my back. And then as I exhale, I'm gonna press into the arch of my hand, pressing into the thumb and the index finger a little bit. The heel comes slightly off, and I go into shoulder protraction there at the top of that push-up. So nice and slow down toward the wall, relaxing through the neck and the tops of the shoulders, heel of the hand, press off into the arch of the hand, down into the heel, into the arch, protraction of the shoulder blades, okay? So just nice and slow, you'll go through that same number of reps as we're doing with the stools, anywhere from 6 to 12, okay? Meet yourself where you're at and you choose the exercise that is most appropriate for you right now. I cannot emphasize that point enough or drive it home enough. All right, friends, here we go. And again, remember, if you need to elevate higher, you could use the edge of your couch, you could use some higher chairs, and just as you progress, bring that lever lower and lower till eventually you can do this comfortably with hands all the way on the floor, okay? But I like this elevated position. Here we go. Anywhere from 6 to 12 here, all right? And breathe and expand into the heel. Exhale into the arch of the hand, protract the shoulders, stay long in the back of the head and the neck. Nice and slow, I don't want this fast. Same if you're on the wall. Don't underestimate how challenging this exercise is on a wall. So don't be a hero. If this feels like too much or it bugs your shoulder, Okay, well then we need to fix those mechanics from the wall first. Really feel those hamstrings dragging my feet up the wall. Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna call that at 8 reps, and I'm gonna go to my core blades. Round 2, back hands, here we go. Got my target here, elbow is soft, push off this foot, energy goes. Foot, hip, core, and find that nice lengthened position here through the chest. So we've got the core and the chest coming on to decelerate, and I'm opening up. Trying not to let that rotation trickle all the way down into my low back and my hips. Okay, so again, I'm not doing this. I'm keeping my hips forward and letting that rotation come from the upper back, mid and upper back. I'm gonna say 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. I'm gonna go to the other side. Here we go. And if you struggle to get this rotation, or you really struggle to relax here through this upper trap and the neck, then I highly recommend going through my overhead flexion test. Just kind of self-assess it and go through some of those posterior expansion breathing drills that should help to unlock some of that tension that is limiting your rotation. Really powerful stuff. And if you want my feedback on any of that, make sure you check out my Fix Your Body monthly membership program, where we dive into that and you get a lot more personalized coaching. It's less than $60 a month. Check out the description below or comment, coach me. All right, friend, 2, 1. All right, let's get back to that push-up. Coming into round 2 here. And keep in mind, if you want to progress this further, you can absolutely, as this feels easy, come all the way up into your full push-up position, or even into a bear type position where my knees are still a little bent. You've got options, okay, to continue progressing this as you get stronger, okay? But I'm gonna stay right here. This is, as is, very challenging. And round 2, here we go. Whether you're here or you're on the wall, meet yourself where you're at right now. That's always so important. And that's always where you're gonna get the most gains, is when you meet yourself where you're at. And don't try to force your body through exercises and movement progressions that you're not quite ready for. I think that's where most people go wrong in their exercise programs, is they get too advanced too fast and forget building these strong foundations and how important they are. Super, good job, friend. All right, let's go to our core blades. Round 3, last round. Here we go. We should be getting the hang of this a little bit by now. Good, 10 to 15. Really focusing on that length. And you can even think about lifting your chin a little bit so your airway stays nice and open, and that can just help loosen the jaw a little so that we can get a little more relaxation through the neck and that upper trap, upper part of the shoulder that often just kind of shrugs and guards and has a hard time softening and opening up into these ranges of motion, especially for rotation. Where again, those posterior expansion breathing drills can be super impactful. Terrible at talking and counting. Here we go. Keeping my hips facing forward, shifting that energy from the right hip through the core and finishing it out through the arm. so we're not overthrowing from that arm and shoulder. Nicely done. 2 and 1. Awesome, let's finish it out. Last round, we're gonna knock this out. Last time through, feet dragging up the wall and into it. Heel of the hand, exhale, protract the shoulders at the top, arch of the hand. Pushing through the thumb and the index fingers. Elbows brushing against the sides of the body, staying nice and relaxed through the, or lengthened through the neck and the back of the head. Nicely done. I'm going to do one more here. All right. And we're going to move on. So now we're going to use our band and we're going to do a lat pull from a prone child's pose type position. And if I'm using a band, I want you to have that band set up under the bottom of a door. If you're using a door anchor, I use eye bolts. And so I've got an eye bolt down as low as it'll go on a stud in my wall. But I'm going to get into my child's pose position. I'm also going to show you an option that you can use with the bench, just doing a row. But if you're here with me, we're going to be down on the floor. I'm going to be in a child's pose type position, but I've got this elbow bent and stacked. I'll get like this so you can see. So I'm stacked here. I'm going to stay nice and long from the back of my head and my neck. And what I'm going to do, you'll notice I've got my palm down here. I'm going to breathe in to really expand and get that stretch, that pull through this lat. And then I'm going to exhale, rotate in, and really focus on pulling from my lat, from the mid and lower part of that shoulder blade. I'm pushing into the floor with this arm. And we're going to do 8 to 12 per side and go through it twice. Okay? Now, if you need to do the dumbbell variation, I'm going to show you that. All right, so another great option that you have here, if you don't have a good band set up and you just want to use dumbbells, totally fine. We're going to get into a supported row position instead. So I've got my knee propped up on my bench, my hand here, and I'm going to make sure that I'm pushing away from that bench. Notice how this arm that's holding my dumbbell is hanging. I want to get that length here through that muscle, okay? I'm going to breathe in, expand in this position, and then exhale, row. Breathe in, expand, hang long through the back of the head and the neck, and row. Okay, so that's just a good substitute option if you need to substitute for the prone band pull. All right, without further ado, here we go. We're going to go into this set. And you can play with that breath, the timing of it. Some people feel they need more expansion as they pull, like through the chest. And just see what feels better for your body. Because we need to be able to get length through our muscles before we can really focus on getting good contraction. And that's where a lot of people go wrong with their lifting work, is they're contracting muscles all the time and get so tight that the muscles never learn that they can also stretch and lengthen. And then it becomes really hard to access certain muscles, especially the mid and lower part of the lats, and the glutes are another just big trouble area with that, because we tend to carry a lot of tension through the neck, through the shoulders, and the low back. So length in muscles becomes extremely important, especially when you're someone dealing with chronic pain, okay? So I'm gonna go to the other side. anywhere from 6 to 12. Okay, so just take a short break here and we're gonna go for one more round. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to my other side, pushing away from the ground here, 6 to 12 reps, focusing on quality over quantity and speed. Long through the neck and the back of the head. Here we go. Okay, awesome. And then to finish this out, we're just gonna do some breathing. I'm gonna have you grab your yoga block and we're going to get into a lying position here. I'm gonna have you place that yoga block on, just kind of on your tailbone here. And you're gonna bring your knees in toward your chest. And from here, we're just gonna practice some breathing. So we're pushing our pelvis into a posterior tilt, which many people live in an anterior tilt, so this should feel really good, but it also helps you to expand your breath into your back. So from this position, and you can wrap your hands here, wherever is comfortable, really. And I just want you to breathe in and expand. Forceful exhale like we're inflating a balloon. And in doing this, we're helping to just down-regulate our nervous system, to unwind after a workout. Keep your chin up so your airway stays nice and open. Don't underestimate the power and the importance of breath at the end of a workout. If you follow anyone like Andrew Huberman and his podcast, which is fantastic, he talks quite a bit about this in a few of his episodes. Excellent. Thanks for joining me, friend. And as always, if you want to get yourself a pair of Coreblades, comment Coreblades below. You want to get involved in my private community and in my monthly scheduled app-delivered workouts, then comment below Coach Me and I'll hook you up there. Same thing if you need some help modifying exercises or just have some questions about exercises in this video, Coach Me below and we can have a chat. Until next time. Keep press and play and keep moving forward and make sure you subscribe to my channel here so you don't miss a thing. See you next time.